I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers who want to know they are making the right choices. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 160, Enjoying the Present. I'm so glad you're here. Huge thank you to those who are sharing this podcast. If you enjoy what you hear here, would you please leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes? I am up to 75 and my goal is 100 by my birthday in September. I will post direct links to leave a review in my social media posts. And if you already have, I really appreciate it. You may be listening when this is released. You also may be listening a few months or even a year from now. I am releasing this in July of 2023. Summertime, the very center, the slow center of the summer. It is hot here in the Carolinas. Summer for many is a time to slow down, do less. There certainly is less school getting done, less school lunches. We take several beach vacations in the summer. Now, I certainly know from experience there's a huge difference between a family trip and a vacation, and one is a bit more relaxing than the other. Either way, though, it's possible to recharge our batteries and really enjoy these times if we learn to be present. I want to give you a few tools to help you be more present this summer, to learn to really focus your mind and body to experience the present. Our minds can often wander to the past. And it's easy to go to the past. It's concrete. It already happened. As humans, we're so advanced because we can think of the past and we can learn from it. Our minds also can wander to the future, often on default. This will look and feel like worrying. Again, our brains are trying to solve for potential future problems. But the past and the future are not where life is taking place. Life is taking place right now, right here, in this moment, one small second at a time. The present is also the only moment we can influence. The present is where we can make changes if we want. It's where we can break patterns, where we can sit with discomfort and allow change. The current moment is the only moment we have to say something kind instead of something unkind. The present is where we choose maybe healthier food, or where we choose to keep our mouth closed when we might maybe feel the need to criticize our teen. The calmest and most anchored people are very comfortable in the present. They can slow down. They can be completely engrossed in a conversation and not look at their phone. And since you're here listening, I'm going to assume that you are someone who wants to be more present, to create more calm. So, how do we do this? I'm going to share with you an example of how I've been practicing this and how it's our body and our mind together. We have to learn to be aware and accepting of both what's floating through our minds and the vibrations and sensations coursing through our bodies, good or bad. Over the past several years, I've seen my children quickly leaving home, growing and maturing. I know mothers of toddlers do not want to hear how quickly the years go. I remember being in those years, and each day it felt like an eternity. No one who has to put young kids to bed at night wants to be told to enjoy the present. But in reality, it does go fast. And one day our kids will be in new seasons. This past week, I took one of our sons to the Missionary Training Center to start a 2-year mission for our church. We won't be able to see him in person for 2 years. We will be able to video chat him each week, but he is off on this incredible adventure and life-changing journey. It's a mix of the most bittersweet emotions. We're incredibly proud of the person he is, of this experience and what lies ahead. And we're also missing him like crazy. We actually really enjoy being with him. So in preparation, I told myself, I want to be fully present at each of the moments on this 2-day trip to take him out to the MTC, that training center where he's going to be for 5 weeks. The first and probably the most emotional goodbye was in the Charlotte airport, where his dad got on a flight for a business trip, and we then went to our gate to get to our flight. My son and his dad are incredibly close. I've mentioned this in the podcast before that Matthew loves his dad to pieces. I was very in my body for this trip. I was aware of all of my senses. I was allowing any emotion to come up, no matter what. I didn't tell myself that I should or shouldn't feel a certain way. I want to model for my kids all emotions are okay. Yes, we want to be regulated, but we can feel anything and be regulated and in control. As we got to my husband's gate, my son and his dad were in absolute sobs. Even as I write and share this, I'm in tears. The gate agents understood what was going on. They knew they were saying goodbye for a long time, and they graciously moved Bill to first class for this connecting flight. I watched my son and husband. I wasn't distracted by anyone else. I wanted to witness their love, their connection to each other. I felt the gratitude in my body. I felt it in my arms, in my chest, in my heart. I was crying hard, and I hugged my son so tightly as his dad walked onto the plane. I knew it was a sacrifice for both of them, and one that they both wanted to make for the future version of Matthew. For a hot second, I thought, well, these missions, they are just an awful idea, brought on by my immediate discomfort and sadness. Then my higher brain could honor that sadness. My higher brain could come in and pivot me to gratitude. We walked to our gate to board our flight, with no embarrassment for our tears. I was aware of the shoes I was wearing, of the bag I was pulling. I paid attention to my son's walking, to his tears, to his smile. I put my arm in his to feel his arm. I hugged him when I felt we needed a hug. There was no trying to escape the present. I wanted to soak it in and experience all of it. Because I was present, I could totally appreciate with immense gratitude the people who came up to talk to us and ask Matthew, was he going out or coming home? I listened to each of their stories and comforts and suggestions. I noticed what these women looked like. I soaked up their energy. It was as if they had been sent on a miracle mission to buoy us up. My son was sitting 6 rows behind me, and I could hear the people getting on the plane wishing him good luck because he was sitting right there on the aisle. I said small prayers of gratitude to each of them. I was totally accepting of the present, accepting that everything was going right, even though it didn't always feel great. This attention to the present continued for me for another 36 hours. After we landed, we met up with my other son, the older brother of our missionary, and we went to Target for some last-minute items. I stood back and I watched them give each other suggestions on body wash. I listened to the words and the college boy slang they use with each other. I paid attention to their bodies, how one is an inch or two taller than the other. I watched them walk together through the store, and I marveled that they are my sons. How blessed I've been to raise them. At one point, my oldest son relayed a story to us, and I caught myself about to give him advice and why that thing might not be a good idea. I bit my tongue. It was hard, but I made my brain focus on how this was his solution, and maybe I didn't have all the pieces of information to know if this was a good or bad decision. And either way, he gets to learn the way we all get to learn. I tried my hardest to project an energy of confidence and love, and often keeping our mouths shut is how we do this. Other than a few pictures to send my husband, I was not viewing the present, this trip, this experience, through my phone or my camera. I was not worried at all about anyone else missing out on it. It's no one else's experience to experience. It was me there. It was my body feeling such intense roller coaster emotions. We don't connect by taking pictures of people. We connect by being present, by listening, by feeling how we feel around others. The following day, as we drove to drop him off, I was very present and agreeable as he said, "Hey, my plan all along has been to listen to Stairway to Heaven as we drive to the MTC. So that is what we did, with my oldest son and his best friend with us. I watched my sons hug each other goodbye for 2 years. They've always shared a room, except for a few semesters in college. They really are best buddies. My heart was exploding with gratitude. Again, aside from a few pictures, I was viewing this all, experiencing the present through my eyes, in the moment. I know what the car felt like. I know how it felt to drive into the lane where we were directed to drop him off. I know what the other elder looked like, who was his host, helping him get his bags and walk him to the MTC entrance after our last goodbye hugs. We were less sobbing like we had been in the airport the day before. He was ready to go. And I know what it feels like to love your children enough to give them roots and wings. Trust doesn't always feel great. It feels like uncertainty, and it can be uncomfortable. But I also trust the universe to give him and me what we need. As I spent a few hours with my son and another family, I was very present. I had very connecting conversations. I had a sense of calm and peace. My body and mind were exhausted and also filled. It almost seemed like an out-of-body experience. As I flew home on the red-eye, sleeping, I was paying attention to all of my thoughts, to my worries, and then directing them back to the present, where there were no problems. I realized I had not been worried at all about other parts of my life, about HOA requests that were just denied. Nothing. I was totally present. There were 2 notable things that I was not spending my time talking about or worrying about, which helped me stay present. My daughter wasn't with us. She was home. I was not constantly pinging her, talking to her, tracking her. I wasn't doing any of these things. I could have been worried about her, but I wasn't. Did we text some? Yes. Did she ask for dinner money? Yes. But it never took priority over what we were doing. Unfortunately, the entire time we were on this trip, there was a tragic accident and death unfolding of an extended family member. While I was tracking the events via text with my family, I wasn't talking about this tragedy to the people I was with. I wasn't calling or discussing this with family who wasn't with me. We were 100% out of control of that incredibly sad situation. And to stay present and feel the gratitude and love of my sons and really experience saying goodbye, I needed to know how to manage my emotions, to know what to discuss with whom, to be aware of the energy and vibe I wanted to bring. Life really can change in a moment, further reminding me to enjoy the present, to be where my feet are. That's what my husband keeps telling my son. Be where your feet are. On his mission, his mind should be there. Being present means ignoring things which are not as important. And y'all, we will miss out. We have to manage any FOMO, or that fear of missing out. To be present, we are equal parts not present for everything else. This can be hard for me, but I love being at a party and the hostess is fully engaged with her guests and she's pushing any party mess to the side, knowing she'll deal with it later. Recently, a dear friend was telling me about her son's wedding, and she said, I don't have any pictures of the rehearsal dinner, which I know that she had hosted at her house. She had no pictures because she was present. She was talking to her guests. She was concerned about her taking in the scene, not capturing the scene for others. She was completely in the moment, which was then a gift to herself and her family. Now, we do need to give our brains a break at times. We aren't always going to be intently focused on being present. But if we practice this enough, we will know exactly how to be in our bodies and present for the moments that we don't want to miss. Each week, I won't have a heightened and milestone experience like last week. And yet I plan to continue to be as present for the small moments as I am the big. It can be hard. I have to pivot my head back to the present, to listening to the birds, which are different here in the South than the North. Last night on our walk, there was more of a breeze than normal, so I wanted to stay out later and enjoy it. When I feel my head wandering and I get tense, I pull myself back to all 5 of my senses. I intentionally name and experience everything that I'm touching, smelling, hearing, seeing, tasting. I've been in the presence of friends who really talk to me, who have a positive energy of connection. It feels good. It gives me a good example to model. It's who I want to be. For the small conversations in passing and for the bigger once-in-a-lifetime moments. They are all important. That's it for this week. If you would like personalized weekly private one-on-one coaching to increase your confidence and gift your family the gift of your presence, sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminson.com. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.